Aloha, it's your friendly neighborhood NLP weirdo Chuck Jacoby, Basic Instructions NLP. And it's really funny. I mean, truthfully, I'm just a big dork for all this mindset, science stuff that we all do. And for me, being into the stuff that I'm into, mindset coaching, NLP, Huna, my wife and I, Alicia, and she's an NLP and Huna practitioner also, and a lot of you guys are familiar. But Alicia and I, we get into these deep discussions and geek out on these learnings. And with the two of us being from different for the two of us being from different ethnic backgrounds, it's one of those days, this racial discussion of the moment that we're naturally having, her and I, we just naturally end up getting into these conversations at home. So today's thought, I wanted to start to get into the actual basic instructions, what I coach and teach. What are the actual steps to becoming empowered and controlling my life story? And with all the divisive language, the protesting, the labeling of one another that's going on right now in 2020, this year's already out of whack. So I think it's best, I believe we got to focus on the future. And so that brings me to the first basic instruction. Basic instruction number 1, let go of the past. So letting go of that old story, writing the new story of our life is what we're talking about. Because remember, the only thing real is this moment right now. Remember, the past is in your unconscious, and the future is in your imagination. The only thing real is right now. So in this moment, 2020, what story am I telling about my existence? In 2020, right now in this moment, I got to ask myself, does my life matter? Well, it's my story, right? So I get to choose where this story goes. So I choose, for me personally, instead of wondering if my life matters or doesn't, I think it's best to maintain my focus on the future. Where is this life of mine going? I think it's just best to think about that, because this year I cannot wait until it's a memory. 2020 is just what it is. So staying focused on writing a new story, we got to follow basic instruction number 1. First, we got to let go of the past. Now, for me, in the business that many of us are in, I imagine a lot of people will need this kind of help with NLP and mental and emotional release when, this whole 2020 is all said and done. And NLP practitioners, I know you feel me. What's up, Kenji? It's been a million years since I've seen you, dude. But what's interesting with all the racial rhetoric of the moment, what I discover when I think about it is that no matter what race you are, you're 100% perfect. I'm serious, man. I know that sounds like happy-go-lucky talk, feel-good stuff, but I'm serious. If you follow the story I want to share with you, you'll agree with me that you are indeed perfect just the way you are. Everyone is. So let's nerd out on NLP for a second, and let me tell you a story. NLP practitioners, the imprinting phase of the human experience. You realize that the vast majorities of our belief systems, they are our opinions about who we believe we are. Most of our self-identity and our beliefs about the world are formed before the age of 7, right? So thinking about my own upbringing, what I'm talking about are those formative years, ages 0 to 7, my experience. And how the beliefs we create during that stage of our life, sometimes those are the things we need to let go of in order to become the person we want to be in the future. So yeah, today we're going to get a little bit deeper. I mean, you didn't really think that my life started in the NFL. Well, Kenji knows that. I mean, it's really funny. A lot of the limiting beliefs that I formed during those early years in my life are actually a big part of how I achieved Super Bowl level success. So think of it like I used that pain to motivate me to be the player that I was. So now you're getting to know me a little better. So let's go deeper. My full name is Chukwueze Sonume Okobi. I was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, November 18th, 1978. I'm a first-generation American. Both of my parents are immigrants from Nigeria. In those early years of my life, the later years of their marriage were turbulent. A lot of sadness, a lot of fear, a lot of pain in our household. So think about this now. These are my imprinting years. This is the environment in which I'm defining my world right now. No worries though, it's all good because I've let go of the past. I've done with my baggage and I love my family more than anything, so I digress. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Pittsburgh's population is about 12% black. And I lived in Squirrel Hill, one of the most prosperous Jewish communities there is. And I went to Catholic school. So with all that said, most of the other kids I knew growing up were white. And I had a lot of friends. I went to school with a lot of great kids that are now great men and women. Many of them still in Pittsburgh. So let's think about this for a second. From my perspective, think about the imprinting phase. Looking around in my outside world, I look at everybody and everyone looked different than me. Everyone I knew pretty much. I mean, the teachers, the grown-ups, they spoke with an American accent. So there's so-and-so's mom, but my parents, they speak funny with an African accent. So imagine this to a 4 or 5-year-old, right? This is my evidence, my 126 bits, NLP practitioners, that tell me that I'm different from everyone. Now notice the belief that I'm forming right now, ages 0 to 7, remember. So, and then, again, my name is long and funny. It's not Peter or James or even Jamal. It's Chukwueze. I mean, my name is weird. That's what I thought as a kid, you know? Just think about that. And we ate different food at home than when I went over to my friend's house. And it seems Dave's mommy and daddy love each other. My parents are always fighting. What is that about? I mean, so this 6-year-old, this is just more evidence in my 126 bits in my mind. Chucky, there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you. And even when I was around kids who were the same color as me, they looked just like me, they weren't African like me. So I'm still different. I mean, damn, I don't fit in anywhere. So by age 7, I was congruent with this belief. In my unconscious mind, I am weird. There must be something wrong with me. I don't fit in anywhere. I mean, just look at the evidence, Chucky. It must be true. I mean, besides, your family's from Africa, right? And you know people say Africa is full of those shit countries, right? So I guess you just suck. Your life doesn't matter. Welcome to my story, folks. Now, this was my baggage. I've already let it go. That's why it's easy to talk about. But I imagine it's a similar feeling to maybe, you know, TEP, people who are part of my TEP bubble. What's up, Amber? You know I love you. Boil her up, by the way. But, you know, I imagine this is a similar feeling to maybe like Dr. Matt felt when he was a white kid growing up in class and everybody else is Hawaiian, you know, or being born, or a woman who spent her whole life feeling guilty for being born a girl because she believes daddy really wanted a boy. So you wonder, you know what I mean? But for me, this limiting decision about my life being made back then, I decided back then at the age of 7, I was gonna go pro in sports. I'm gonna make it big just to prove to myself there's nothing wrong with me, that my life does matter, and that I am capable. I add some value to the world, even if it's just on the football field, even if this experience in Ross-Ade Stadium is it for me. I'm going to prove my life matters. And that pain drove me all the way to the Super Bowl. It's a pretty cool story when you think about it. So, you know, for most of my life, this is just the way it was. This was life to me, the way I felt about myself back then. And because of the limiting decisions I made about what my life is worth back then, about who I believed I was and what I believed the world to be, good, bad, or indifferent, that's the stuff I had to let go of. After this whole Super Bowl experience, the Super Bowl ride ended, all of a sudden life didn't feel so good anymore. So when it all ended back then, you know, NLP practitioners, you know that baggage was still there in my unconscious mind, right? Football's gone. And now here I am questioning again. Is there something wrong with me? I mean, becoming a Steeler wasn't enough. Do I just suck at life or something? I mean, does my life matter? Let me ask you guys. Is there something wrong with me? Because I'm black? Because I'm African? Because I'm over 40? Or because my name's funny? I mean, based on that evidence, this 126 bits that I'm sharing with you, would you say there's anything wrong with who and what I am? No, obviously not. Of course not. That's ridiculous. I mean, there's nothing wrong with me. Come on, I know this. I mean, even if I was a 25-year-old white male, blonde hair, blue-eyed, who grew up in Johnson County, Kansas, or on me, recognize I didn't choose this. I didn't choose this. I didn't choose to be black. I didn't choose these parents. Hell, I didn't even choose to be born in this country. So why is everyone making judgments about me based on this criteria? Logically, it doesn't add up to me. It doesn't add up. Because the fact is, I'm actually 100% perfect. Just the way I am. Everyone is. So are you. And I could prove it. Let me break it down. Being born white, black, male, female, whatever side of the dichotomy you come into this world on, each and every one of us is a once in human history experience. Think about this. You've never happened before. Your path, your life journey has never been traveled before. No one's ever walked in your footsteps. Fellas, you got a father. You might be named after him, look just like him. Even followed in the same professional footsteps, but he's not you. Ladies, you might have a daughter. She looks just like you, putting your jewelry on and walking around in your high heels, and she mimics everything you do, but she's not you. She's on her own journey down the yellow brick road, right? So think about this. I've never happened before. You've never happened before. Your life experience, your pain and joy have never been felt by another human being in human history and never will be. Every thought, every idea, every electrical impulse in your brain is a virgin experience happening for the first time on planet Earth. You dig what I'm saying? Recognize that you are perfectly unique the way you are. Perfect. All of us are. Think about this. So back to this year, 2020. Alma. I can't say. I felt emotion seeing seeing you come up on the screen. I always get emotional. But I digress. Back to this year, 2020. So when I think about if my life matters, and the fact that I've never happened before, so let's add that together. Who or what am I comparing my life experience to? In this moment, what story am I telling myself about why I'm not perfect? Why life sucks? What's my story about why my life does or doesn't matter? For me, this is what NLP, MER, HUNA, basic instructions is all about. Letting go of that old story. That old belief that you and your life journey are somehow flawed, full of pain and disappointment. When we release that baggage from the past, when we let go of the past, basic instruction number 1, now you realize that everything that's happened was perfect. So for me, working with NLP, mental and emotional release, the work I do with entrepreneurs, real estate agents, other NLP practitioners, helping people rewrite the old story, letting go of the way we used to be, do, and have this experience that we all call life, and create a new empowered experience. That's what we all want, right? So in comes the basic instructions. Now, for me personally, I've committed to basic instruction number 1, letting go of the past. The release work, NLP, MER, HUNA, if you're into that. So now I look back at those decisions and I see my life story in an entirely different way. So again, coming back to 2020, right now, this unrest, the turbulence in this moment that we're all navigating as a society in 2020, things are happening. A lot of images that we keep sharing on Facebook, the things that I keep seeing over and over, the images. For me, when I post what I don't want to happen in the world anymore, I feel like I'm keeping that negative story alive in my mind. I'm getting the visuals, I'm getting the auditory, I'm getting the comments. It's just growing. And for me, I'm ready to let that go. All the images you've seen in 2020, I'm ready to let it go. I don't know about you. Aren't you ready to let it go? 2020, what we're experiencing, these are growing pains of the human race. A global growth spurt, if you will. I mean, 2020 has been a rough scene in this movie. It really has for all of us. But think about it like a butterfly just busting out of that cocoon, right? I imagine becoming the best version of ourselves. it isn't always the most comfortable experience. You know what I mean? Basic instruction number one, let go of the past. Now, when I do this, I free myself of that pain. My perception of myself is now clear. And now I can finally see that I am perfect. Everything that's happened in my life, everything about me is perfect. You too. Your life does matter. It always has. You're perfect. Enough with the stories, man. It's time to let that go. Basic instruction number one is crucial so that we can simply just reframe this whole narrative. Now we can focus on where we are all going together as a planet when this is all over. But it starts with each one of us as an individual. We have to control our perceptions, our interpretations. Be 100% at cause for writing our positive story. It starts with me, really. This global tension that we're feeling right now, all this talk about race and differences, I mean, think about it. It's like we're shedding 2020 like a snake, shedding its skin, right? The world, the human race, every color, every creed, every gender, every sexual orientation. I believe in the long term, we will come out of the other side of whatever's happening right now, refreshed, renewed, and improved. Or as the ancient Hawaiians would say, the world will finally be lokahi, which means together. I choose this story because it feels good to me. You are perfect. That's your story. That's how I see you. Always remember, if you're black, white, or candy striped, your life matters. Success is simple if you know the basic instructions. Ahuio.